We were very tired, when we came to Wales, because it was a long journey. First, we were put from airport onto the coach, and then we were transferred from coach to the train, and it was a long journey. We were very tired, and sandwiches were dished out, but they didn't know that some of them we were vegetarians. So we were given ham sandwiches and that sort of thing. So we said, no, we are vegetarians. So they gave us a vegetarian sandwich, like cheese and that sort of sandwiches they gave to us. And they gave us a small drink as well. I was in Jinja. There were army barracks, so I straight away knew these are army barracks, And we were taken into a big hall. Our name were registered, and then we were allocated rooms. Idi Amin, as soon as he was in power, within few months, he announced that Asians were corrupting the country, and they were greedy, and they weren't helping out the local peoples. So he announced that all the Asians should leave the country within 90 days. Most of the people didn't take any notice of the 90 days notice, They thought, oh, he was just bluffing, Government of India, government of Britain, they tried to persuade him to reverse his decision, but he wouldn't have it, So once people knew that he was serious about it, everybody started getting ready. Some of the people, they didn't even have the passports, because they never thought that they will leave this country. There were so many red tapes, so we had to go to Kampala and fill in various forms. And there were big queues, So we were spending most of the time in queues and filling up various forms. I was single. My friends, they were all single, and they said, it's better if we first go. And it was a sort of winter time here. And it was a bit harsh for elderly people to come over into this country. In a way, you can say we were sort of guinea pig as well, I was stationed in Jinja. From Jinja to go into Entebbe, at that time there was a tribal war going on as well. So they had several checkpoints, and there were quite a few military personnel on the way, So we had to go through about 5 to 7 checkpoints, and there they will search our baggages and everything, and whatever they found sort of good, they will just take it without asking us, just take it, at the gunpoint, So we couldn't say anything to them, So we were more worried about our lives than belongings. Once we boarded the plane, there was a sense of relief, Right, at least we are leaving this country, But at the same time, we were sorry that we are leaving our family behind, We had a house servant. She was crying out, She says, it's nothing to do with us, We like you Asians and everybody, but he says it's beyond us. So they were all crying. My family was emotional as well, So they didn't know what's going to happen, to them or to me, But eventually we boarded the plane, and a sort of relief in a way that at least we are away from this country. We boarded the coach, and from the coach they took us to, I think it was Harlow Station, and then we boarded the train. There were quite a few volunteers, local people, they had come to help people take their luggages. It was quite, I think I don't remember how long, but there was quite a long walk. They took us from railway station to the camp. We were taken in a hall, and everybody's name were registered, and then we were allocated the rooms. And then once we settled in, they called us. They had set up a social security office and employment office in the campus itself. There was a shop as well. They had opened up a small shop there, so we could get Indian ration and daily things like bread, butter, and that sort of thing. We had a Navratri festival, so that is 9 days of Indian folk dances where we pray to goddesses, and they had given us a big hall, So 9 nights of, what we call is Garba, we done there, in Wales. And local people used to come and enjoy it, and they used to participate in it as well, So that was very good. So that broke the ice as well, with local people. So everybody started sort of mingling with all the rest of and some of them that become really friends. They used to come regularly into the camp and help us out. Most of them were farmers. They used to take us to their farms and sow us all the crops and all the lamb and sheep and whatever. So yeah, they were very friendly. And I had a couple of rides on the horses as well, In Wales, people were quite friendly. But when we used to go to the town center, we used to experience a little bit of racism, but not to that extent that it will frighten us, But once they came to know that we are okay, they were okay, all right with us. Another thing which in Uganda, we were used to being served when we go into the pub, a bar, there was no pub-like thing, there was bar. So once all you have to do is go and sit down, and the waiter will come and serve you what they'll take the order, Here it was different. So we went to the pub, we sat down. I said, nobody's coming here. I said, weird, Then eventually I went to the counter and asked, no waiter? He said, no, what do you want, sir? So I said, I want a pint of lager. He said, okay, take it. So you have to come here, get it for yourself, and then you can find a place and sit down. So that was my another experience, a new experience for me. Food was totally bland, because they didn't know what we were eating, like what our diet was, So we put up with it for some time, then there was a protest, that we don't like this food at all. So there were some chefs, who could do curries and that sort of Indian dishes, They were all boiled vegetables. Fish and chips were there. They used to have lamb, but all roasted all made the way English people make, So some people loved it, because they used to love meat. But most of the people who came to Wales, they were vegetarian, So they used to ask me, is that vegetarian food or non-vegetarian food? And some of them, they used to get spices with them, and sprinkle over them and eat it. So they tried their best to sort of make our life at ease. There was second load of Asian people coming to Wales, and I was a friend of mine, and we went to as a volunteer to receive them, And who do I see? But one of my best friend getting off that train, And I tell you what, that was the biggest joyous moment in my life, when I saw him, we hugged. So as soon as I saw my friend, and asked straight away about my family, So how are they? What are they doing? Is everything okay in Uganda? He reassured me that everything was all right, So don't worry about that. So he was put in a room next to me, and I didn't have any relation in UK at all, but he had his sister and his brother-in-law. So as soon as he settled, he wrote to his brother-in-law, and he says, don't waste your time in the camp, come over here. So he went to stay with his brother-in-law. And after he stayed there after about a month, he wrote to me, you better come to here. I went to his house and I stayed there for 2-3 days, and then I found a family who took me as a lodger. And I stayed with the family for about 6-7 months, and I found a job as well. My family came from Uganda. They came from Uganda. So I went to receive them, and they initially went to Croydon to stay with their friends. My brother had a friend, so he stayed with his friend. And after a while, we rented he found a property in Tulse Hill in Brixton. So we rented that property, and I moved with my brother and sister-in-law and my dad. I had a very good job. I worked for Field Aircraft Services, which changed its names to Sigma Aerospace. I worked for that company for 37 years. The best thing ever happened to me was meeting Ron and Angela, two of the members who Wales, English. They're English people. They used to live in Wales, and we got acquainted with them, and they came very close to us, And they used to take us to their house and entertain us, and take us to the various sightseeing places, and try to make us as comfortable as possible. Christmas was just approaching, and Ron and Angela invited us. He says, "Would you like to come to our house?" So we said, "Yes, okay." So he said, "I'm going to decorate Christmas tree. Will you help us?" So he was trying to all the time involve us into something different, because Christmas and anything, Uganda, we never knew anything of. We knew there was a Christmas holiday, that's about it, but we didn't know the significance of it, or we never had Christmas trees in Uganda. So we said, show us how to do it, and we done. So we helped them up, and it was, he was quite impressed, the way we were decorating, me and my friends, He showed me how to develop, because he was a photographer, and he knew how to develop pictures, black and white people. So he had a dark room. He took me and showed me how to develop pictures, So that one skill I learned from him. And then when we became very, very close indeed, So he used to come and advise me what to do, what not to do, and everything, So I used to take his advice. Angela was equally good, So they both were very concerned about the whole, everybody, all the Asians, They themselves had adopted 2 children, So they knew the plight of people who were sort of homeless and refugee, So they were very good to us, and even for 50 years, he's been sending my Christmas card without fail. In the card, he will put a leaflet telling him about the progress and whatever incidences they had throughout the year, So it was something different. I never had it before, So every year I used to get updates of his family, and he will ask me the same, how am I doing? I invited him to my wedding. I just sent him an invitation, thinking that will he come or will he not? Thinking that he wouldn't come. To my surprise, he and his missus were there in full English attire with hat and everything, and they thought it will be a very somber moment, but Indian weddings, that's amazing, People are running, children are running around, people are talking, some people are outside, ceremony is going on in the middle, and everybody is doing their own thing, So they were a bit surprised about the whole going on, But they enjoyed it. I met him yesterday. I met him, and I tell you what, I hugged him and hugged him. He's got first of all, I asked him, because I said, "Is it all right to hug you?" And he says, "Yes, Praful, I'm longing for that, Angela, and I hugged him and I hugged her, and I tell you what, tears of joy came out, we both, three or four, sort of crying, you know. It was quite emotional, quite emotional. And we sat down, chatted and chatted and chatted. We talked about anything and everything, you know. And my heart goes out to all the people from Ukraine, you know, because I know what they're going through, because I have gone through that thing, you know. And all the volunteers, from my bottom of my heart, I thank all the volunteers, all the people of Wales, and general public of Britain. Thank you very much from bottom of my heart, you know.